Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Dana. I'm a mama to four, and on my channel I love sharing our homeschooling journey, which is what we are going to be talking about today. In today's video, I want to share with you kind of a recap of our November, as well as a few of our goals looking forward in December and what that looks like. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. So to start off today's video, I wanted to talk about our actual homeschooling and how that went in November, starting with my first grader. My first grader is now halfway through his Learning to Read program. We are doing the Christian Light Education if you're new here, and he has been loving this, and I love it for him as well. But because we are over halfway through with this, he also added in, and then this is also mentioned in the scope of sequence with this, that once you do get halfway through that, you add in the actual language arts. And so we are on the second light unit of the language arts, but this one combined with the Learning to Read has been amazing, especially for him. And I do appreciate that in the actual language arts, each lesson is just 1 to 2 pages, which is very, very doable, adding in this with this. So the lessons on here are pretty long, which I do love, because if there is a concept that he does need help with, or if he needs more practice on, there is plenty of practice in these books. But then I also don't feel bad that if he does have a concept down, I don't feel bad kind of crossing out a handful of the questions, if that makes sense, because a lot of them are just repetitive, but it's also done in a good way, if that makes sense. So I love this curriculum. Anyway, so he's been loving this still, and then we are still doing the CLE grade 1. We are also halfway done with that, and I'm very, very excited about that. So that means in the spring we'll actually be finishing everything up on time. I don't want to say on time because everybody has their own schedule, but we'll be finishing it up in the spring, and then over the summer we'll be ready to start looking and purchasing his second grade stuff. But overall he's been really loving his CLE curriculum. And then the only other thing that I have added in November and have been more consistently adding in with him, and that is the Victory Drill book. I've actually been using this a couple of times a week now, and this is a great option if your kiddos need help with their actual reading speeds. So my little guy loves actually reading his stories in his Learning to Read program, and he's doing very, very well. And so I love incorporating this because this is just a bunch of really quick words where he can just go down the list super quickly and really just work on the actual reading speed. So I love incorporating this. And honestly, if you have little ones who are doing any type of reading curriculum, this is a great thing to add in if they again need help with getting the actual reading speeds up. So highly recommend this if again your little ones need help with the actual speed reading. So yeah, that was overall kind of how my first grader is still loving his curriculum. We are still loving it. I know it's probably repetitive to keep saying that on each recap video. However, I know that in the short span of weeks or months, you can really change your perspective on curriculums. And it's very rare for me to have the same opinion. So that's why I keep sharing that we still like that one. For my kindergartner, she is actually halfway through her Good and the Beautiful language arts as well as her level K math. She's really enjoying both of them, especially her language arts, because like I've mentioned many times before on my channel, she just loves like the artsiness and everything like that comes with that curriculum, and she loves like the poems and the stories and everything like that, so she loves it. And then with the Good and the Beautiful level K math, she is the type that she likes doing the sheet work, and she actually does enjoy doing the kindergarten level type math, if that makes sense. However, with the Good and the Beautiful, I realized that we were honestly kind of doing 5-6 lessons sometimes a day, only because she didn't want to read all of like the stories and stuff. She just wanted to do the actual counting of the things. She wanted to like do the place value and the 10 sticks and just do all the counting and fun things. Where I realized that the Good and the Beautiful, I do love, again, for her learning style, that artsiness and story, creative storytelling, there you go, that curriculum offers, which is great for her. I realized I did not have a lot of extra practice. So I ended up pulling out the Practice Makes Perfect, the Master Books curriculum from the level 1. Now my son actually did this curriculum back when he was in kindergarten, and we ended up switching to CLE, which I definitely much preferred for him. But the actual Practice Makes Perfect sheets, not the actual curriculum, I'm, to be honest, not a huge fan of the curriculum, but the the actual worksheets, it takes out all of the fluff and it really is just the actual worksheets. And the actual worksheets themselves are just really, really nicely done. And the level 1 is definitely more on that kindergarten level. And honestly, these are the things that she honestly loves to do when it comes to her kindergarten math. And having all the extra problems and again, all the nature theme and everything like that, she really, really loves. So it's a great supplement to kind of add in on the days where she just wants to sit down and do math. She might not necessarily want to read all the stories. So having something like this where it completely removes all the storytelling and everything when it comes to math, because she loves it for language arts, but math is, hit or miss whether or not she wants to do that. Like I said, she just wants to do math. So, which is what my first grader ran into. So I pulled this out because this was a brand new item that I had on my shelf, and I was really thankful I hung on to it instead of passed it on because we're putting it to good use now. And then the other workbook that I got for her that I was honestly not a huge fan of it, but now because she's into doing more of the workbooks, she likes it now. So anyway, this is the Ultimate Kindergarten Workbook, and this is also like a very, very simple kind of math book as well, but she loves it. And it's funny because even on the days where she might be looking for something to do or might not know what to do, she just grabs this out and we'll sit down on the couch sometimes in the living room and just do it for fun. So I have this and then the master book ones that I mentioned before that are just full of all kinds of fun worksheets for her to do. Again, it's not a necessity at all for kindergarten, but she loves it. So I have them both on hand and she, like I said, loves it. So those are the main updates for her as far as adding in some extra things on top of her math because like I said, she just likes that aspect. And if she is wanting to grow with math concepts and things like that, then I want to encourage that along with her. So that was our overall homeschool update. I've been loving, as I said, this journey and loving seeing them grow a little bit at a time. And I was talking to my husband about this the other day that it's funny how on the day-to-day you might not see that big change, but when you look back even a few months, it's amazing how much growth has happened. And I love that. And that's why I love making these videos because it really does give me an opportunity to reflect and look back at how far we've come. So that was our actual homeschooling update. So for our actual family life update, it started out a little bit rough. It started out with my oldest getting really, really sick, just really, really bad coughing and a really, really bad cold. And then it jumped to my 5-year-old daughter. So as soon as he was feeling better, then she caught it. And then as soon as she was feeling better, my 2-year-old caught it. And it was just kind of circulating through the entire month. Honestly, half of October as well. But for the first part of November, we had actually been planning a family vacation for the month of November, actually over Thanksgiving. We were actually planning on being out of town. I even honestly filmed a pack with me video. This is something that we had planned. My husband put a lot of just hard work and effort into booking all these things. Is going to be an almost 2-week trip, but just booking and reserving 6-7 different places that we were going to be staying at. And so it was just a lot of effort put into it. And then like I said, I filmed that pack with me video because we were so excited to be able to finally go on this trip. And then the day before, there was a couple things that happened the day before, and then the morning of, that's when my 2-year-old, as I mentioned, we were all kind of going in and out of sickness, but while we were packing, we're well, Lord, praise the Lord, everyone's feeling better, we can still go on this trip type thing. And then my 2-year-old, that morning we were leaving, she woke up feeling a little bit sick as well. So we're you know what, maybe we shouldn't go. And then with my 2-year-old, when she gets sick, especially when she has any type of fever, she actually gets febrile seizures, which is not anything I would ever wish any parent to experience. It is so hard. It is so hard to see, especially that 2-year-old go through that. And because of that, and then because of other things that happened the day before, we were just we really felt like the Lord was just telling us not to go. So we ended up the night before, we had actually already loaded up the van. Everything was ready to go. And the next morning we got up at 4 in the morning. We were in the van ready to go. We ended up being in the van for about 3 hours, driving around trying to find some lost things that we had lost the day before, which is what I mentioned, us not being able to go. And we just could not find it. And so we ended up canceling our trip and the kiddos were so disappointed. So we ended up decorating for Christmas early. When we came home, it was kind of we were all kind of disheartened, but my husband and I were also very extremely conflicted because we felt like the Lord was telling us, let's not go right now. But then at the same time, we both wanted to go. And so we were both so torn for the first part of the day. It was we were still trying to find these lost items because we couldn't check in and do any of our reservations. So if we didn't find this lost thing, then it was we would have had to cancel the whole trip anyway and rebook it under different things. And so yeah, so we ended up being very, very torn. And ultimately, at the end of the day, after we both honestly just prayed about it, we're like, well, we're just going to take it as the Lord not wanting us to leave. So we stayed home. We unloaded the entire van. And so we still have our packed suitcases because we did the week later book it for in a couple of weeks. So Lord willing, we'll be able to go this time, but also we are open to maybe if he really doesn't want us to go, we're open for that as well. But that was November as far as just being in and out of sickness, having planned this vacation, but then stepping back and going. So the upside was we were able to see my brother and his wife and 2 little ones for Thanksgiving because they came into town. So that was fun to be able to actually be here for Thanksgiving. So that was really fun to be able to see them and looking at the cup half full. It was fun to like see them and catch up with them over Thanksgiving. The only bad thing that happened was I was carrying the baby and a tub of frosting in my parents' house down to the basement to put it away in the fridge, and I ended up falling down the stairs quite roughly, and I do praise the Lord the baby was not hurt, but then that knocked me out for a few days. I couldn't walk or really do anything for a few days, and then my mom was able to get a hold of some crutches, so I was actually able to use those and then get around for a couple of days, and now I've had enough healing to where I can at least walk with just like a light limp now. So I praise the Lord that the healing happened much faster than I was told it would happen, so I'm very thankful for that. But that was kind of the rough end to November. But again, I do praise the Lord that the baby was not hurt. So for me personally, the month of November, the one goal that I did have for myself as far as like personal reading, I did finish Risen Motherhood. I'll have a screenshot up above here so you can see what book it is I am talking about. I forgot to grab it. And it was very, very good read. Highly recommend it. I did not get to read Gentle and Lowly. I honestly always, and I mentioned this in my last video, plan on reading at least 2 books, but I know I never will get there. But so this month for December, I am going to be reading Gentle and Lowly, and I'm excited to start that and hopefully finish that in December as well, because December is going to be really busy, especially if we do end up going on this very, very planned long trip. So as far as December goals, as I mentioned, we are, Lord willing, going to be able to finally take our trip, but again, time will tell in the next few days, making sure we're all healthy and I can walk normally now, because it won't be fun if I'm not able to walk very well. So we're going to hopefully be going on that here in the next week or so, and then on top of that, honestly, we're just going to be taking it really slow and simple. We're still honestly going to be keeping with our typical kind of homeschool morning schedule and rhythm for at least the first 2 weeks of December, and then we're going to have about a 2-3 week break. I'm not sure yet, so we're excited about that, especially my little people. So for the month of December, we've also been doing a really, really fun advent calendar. This is honestly just a Christmas story. I'm filming this on the 2nd, so the 1st and 2nd days are already gone, but you just cut out a little piece of the Christmas Bible verse, and then we've been putting it onto a string, and honestly have been creating little Christmas tree ornaments using this. So I'll have this link down below. I think the lady that created this is from happyhomefairy.com, I believe. So I'll have this link down below if you want to follow along with us. We've been really enjoying it. Every morning we've kind of just been talking a little bit more about the Christmas story and the importance of that, so that way our hearts and our minds are ready on Christmas morning. So that's what we're going to be doing for December, really just keeping our regular rhythm and routine on top of adding in just the fun like Christmas crafts and everything. And then once we do hit Christmas break here in the next couple of weeks, it will be so much fun to really, our only sole focus is just the Christmas themed stuff. So like the Christmas crafts and the music and everything like that. So I'm excited to have a more slow Christmas and a slow December. So for my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you what is in my kiddos' Christmas stockings. We are doing a very simple stocking, but I did want to go ahead and share those with you. So that will be in probably Wednesday's video. I really appreciate you guys being here and watching today's video. And until my next one, I hope you guys have a great day, whatever you're doing. Bye.